Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life and this is going to be a week of meals. I'm showing you how I put together the meals that I prepped over the weekend. So maybe if you have not seen that video, you might want to go back and watch that one first. If you're interested in just seeing how and what I prepped over the weekend. Really, it was just on Saturday for about a little bit over 3 hours it took me to prep all of these things. And I was filming and I was on the phone and I was, it wasn't like I was super focused. I think if I was focused, I could have done it in a shorter period of time. What we're gonna do in this video now is actually go through the days, and I'm just gonna show you how hopefully quickly everything comes together. It is Sunday evening right now, and this is the barbecue. Can you see that underneath there? Or as some people would call Sloppy Joe's. And I put that into my cast iron pan here, and now I just arranged all of my tater tots on top, and I sprinkled a little bit of Lowry seasoning salt over that. I have my oven set to 425 degrees, and when that preheats, I'm going to put this in along with some cabbage here. And so I'm going to lay these cabbage slices out on parchment paper on a baking sheet. Hopefully I can fit them all onto one, and then drizzle olive oil over top of it, as well as salt and pepper. And then I'm going to roast this and bake the tater tot skillet all at the same time. I also have some green beans from a HelloFresh meal that I did not, I just didn't put that meal together the way I guess they said I should. And so anyway, I have some green beans left here. So I'm also going to steam up these green beans to go with that. And I think once I get everything in the oven, I'm hoping that I have the makings for cornflake clusters, because then I thought I would just get some cornflake clusters going for dessert. I had the cabbage in at 425 degrees on the top rack for about 25 minutes, and then I turned it, gave it a little bit more olive oil and salt, and put it in for about another 12, maybe 10 minutes. And this was in on the middle rack, and I do see that the edge got pretty dark. It probably didn't need to go quite as long as I had it in there for, but I just wasn't sure since I was starting with cold barbecue mix and it wasn't already hot. So anyway, just be aware of that. I think 425 is a little bit hot, especially in a cast iron pan. Got the beans over here. We have a little bit of leftover macaroni and cheese from Friday night, so I thought I would just warm that up since the grandkids are here. I thought they might like that. And then I also have, what are these, Joe?
And puppy chow.
This is not puppy chow. These are cornflake clusters.
Cornflake clusters.
Okay. That's not going to be the best part. That's going to be the crunchy. The best is going to be like right there. Right there in the middle of that one is going to be the best. Actually, this one won't be bad right there.
No, thank you.
There you go. So we're already at Monday night, and tonight on the list was supposed to be chicken stir fry. I did have to pull the chicken out. I took it out over the last weekend and put it in the refrigerator, but it was still frozen this morning. So I just brought it out, I set it in the sink, and it still is not thawed. It's probably halfway frozen still. So anyway, we just changed up our plan. So I already had the meatloaf made. It was that HelloFresh meatloaf that I made. and we did not eat that over the weekend, so I just popped that back in the oven right now, warmed it up, and Warren is making some instant mashed potatoes, and we're having applesauce, and I have some cabbage left over from last night, so I'm gonna have cabbage, and nobody else will have cabbage, but I'll have cabbage. And are we having anything else? I don't really think we're having anything other than that, just a really kind of simple and quick supper here, because it's already after 5 and we're pretty hungry. I'm getting ready now for, what is this, Tuesday, for Tuesday supper, and tonight we are actually going to have the chicken stir fry, which was kind of slated for yesterday, but like I told you, my chicken was still frozen, or too frozen, and so we're gonna do that tonight. In a little bit, I'll get to dicing up the chicken breast, and I'm gonna make all of that chicken breast because, well, we tend to like more meat than veggies in the stir fry. And Amber might be coming tonight for supper, so anyway, I just thought that I would like to have all that chicken. But I'm going to make some pumpkin bars with cream cheese frosting. There's a T in that. Pumpkin bars with cream cheese frosting for dessert tonight. So sometimes when I'm feeling very, very organized, I will get out all of my ingredients first, and then as I put the ingredients into the bowl here, I will, then I'll just put the ingredients away rather than take each individual thing out. It just seems to, it just works well. So anyway, I already have, for the pumpkin bars, I already have the salt and the baking soda, the baking powder, the sugar, and the eggs. I'm just working at this column of ingredients, and you don't have to do anything special with these pumpkin bars. Literally just put the things in the order listed, or any order of your choosing, and mix it all until it's smooth. And then I like to put it, well, I'll show you what pan I like to put it into when I get to that point. This pan is a Pyrex 15-inch by 10-inch by 2-inch glass baking dish. Well, I guess that's what Pyrex means, is that it's glass, and you can put it in the oven and the freezer and, you know, all the things. But I use this a lot for making pumpkin bars. Sometimes I use this pan if I'm making like chicken. I've used this pan for a big amount of lasagna. It definitely comes in handy for a lot of different uses. So I would not make these pumpkin bars in a 9x13. They would just be too thick. You could use a jelly roll pan, and they'll probably puff up a little bit above the pan. That should be okay when you just frost it a little bit above the pan. But this is my favorite dish for making the pumpkin bars. I'm putting these in at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Sometimes they need to go longer. So like, especially if you use a 10x15 jelly roll pan, which I do feel like, even though this says it's a 10x15 Pyrex dish, I feel like the 10x15 jelly roll pan is just a tiny bit bigger. And so the batter becomes thinner, and I think it cooks, you know, in a faster time. So in here, it does sometimes take a little bit longer than the 25 minutes. I'm also going to pull out some cream cheese and some butter just to make sure that that has enough time to soften up. Now we're going to go do some schoolwork. All right, I had these in for 25 minutes. Excuse me. They had a little jiggle. This one little spot over here had a little bit of a jiggle, so I put them back in for 5 minutes, and now when I touch, there's no little jiggle anywhere in there, and that's just how I want these. I need to let these cool completely. Trust me, do not try to put the frosting on when the pumpkin bars are a little bit warm, because the frosting will all get kind of melty and sop around the edges, or kind of run to the edges and then sort of soak in. Yeah, I did that once, and that was a mistake. So wait till they're totally cool, and then whip up the frosting, which is just cream cheese, about a half a stick of butter, a couple cups of powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla if you want that flavoring in there, as well as enough milk to make it spreadable. point, I always like to chill the pumpkin bars, especially just because of the cream cheese frosting. I like it. Personally, I like it firm and not, you know, too runny. So anyway, I like to chill them. And this is going to be dessert for tonight's supper. Warren already stopped in here at about 4:15 and he was eyeing these up going, oh, that looks good. So I'm pretty sure I had mentioned to you all that one of my goals for this week was to have enough supper left over so that we could have that for lunch the next day. And it's been working out just fine so far. Today, I'm warming up the remainder of the stir fry in my 10-inch cast iron skillet. We had quite a bit left over, but I did make, you know, that was like 5 pounds of chicken that I made into stir fry, so we had a lot. And then I'm also just making some extra rice because we only had somewhere in this amount, somewhere in there, there's about a 1/4 cup, maybe not even a 1/4 cup of rice that was left over. So I know that the kids really like rice. So I'm just making some extra rice here for lunch today. And again, that's going to be it. I'll probably open up some peaches again because we had that along with supper last night and it went over well. Today is Wednesday. It was slated to have the Amber's creamy potato soup as well as the Focaccia Bread Squares. Guess what? I completely forgot until about a half an hour ago that I was going to make that bread. So I have everything ready to go, but I didn't get it into the bread machine. So tonight it is just going to be the soup, and then we have a couple different types of crackers in the pantry. We also have some cuties, and we have some oranges, and we have applesauce. So that is what we are going to be having for supper tonight. I did put this in at about 2 o'clock on high, and it is, yes, it is nice and soft. Everything is hot. The potatoes are soft. Was that just a green potato in there? I'm gonna have to search through and see if I can fish that one out. I would have swore I just saw a green potato. That one's kind of green, isn't it? Right there. I don't like that. Okay. And when I turned on the crock pot, I also brought out some cream cheese so it could get nice and soft here, or at least to room temperature, which isn't overly warm. But I just cut it up into small cubes. I'm going to put this into the soup, cover it, and then let that melt and come back in about a half an hour and stir, and then that's going to give us about 15 minutes to eat supper. It's going to be a real quick supper tonight because we have to be out the door for we have a church activity tonight. So we're kind of eating in a rush right now. Joe's going to serve, if you use this one, that one has holes, honey, so use this one. I was using this spoon to kind of push the cream cheese into the sides to get it to kind of melt up a little bit faster and mix in. You're going to serve up some? Mm-hmm. Okay. Looks good. Good job. And this is how we like to serve it, with some shredded cheese and some bacon bits. And a lot of times I'll put green onions on this. I don't have any right now, and the onion I used in the soup is very strong, so we don't need any extra onions tonight. Good morning. Here it is. It is just 6:38 in the morning, and I'm putting on the I'm putting in the Italian roast venison. Sorry, I've only had that much of my coffee so far, which I don't really fill it up much fuller than that, so it's only been a couple drinks. Anyway, I'm just putting this onto low here, and I'm going to let this slow cook away all day. We probably won't have supper here until, I'm thinking it's going to be close to 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight, and I just wanted this to have lots and lots of time to just cook and get really, really soft. The goal is for this to get so tender that I can just fork tender. I want to just be able to use a couple forks, put them in there, and pull the meat apart. We're going to serve this probably on some toasted buns with provolone cheese on top. Well, the meat has been slow cooking away since 6:30 this morning, and it is 5 o'clock. I did open it one time just to see how it was doing and to turn it over to make sure that everything was getting well covered in the juice. And look at how tender. The trick with the venison roast really is time and low heat. If you do high heat and try to do it fast, it just doesn't tenderize it. So I don't even have to pull this out and shred it with forks, which is what I was thinking I was going to have to do. And that looks just fine. Let's just make sure. I've got somebody doing gymnastics in the background, I think. Yep, I'm just going to get that meat. That looks really good, I think. Make sure it's shredded enough. That little piece right there needs to get shredded. And then over here, this is just some garlic mayo. So it's just some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and mayo. And I put that together earlier so that it would have time for the flavors to go through. And now I picked up some hoagie rolls today after church. We are going to, I'm just going to get these sliced. I'm going to butter them, toast them. Then we'll put the meat. Then we'll put the cheese. No. After that we toast them, then I will put on some garlic mayo. We'll put the meat and we'll put the cheese. Put them back into the oven just so that they can kind of melt up a little bit. And they're going to be just delicious. I love this kind of meal. So I buttered these. Well, I guess you saw that I buttered them. I toasted them in the oven under the broiler. Then I just put a little smear. I didn't want a lot of the garlic mayo, just a little smear on it. And now I'm just topping it with the shredded meat, making sure that, just making sure that it all gets down into that juiciness here. Although then I do kind of let it drip a little bit. Put that on. Well, it's another day here and I am making some brownies. So I'm just using the recipe in my cookbook here. It's just like a good cocoa brownie recipe, and I kind of like brownies that are a bit more cakey versus like gummy. I don't know if that's the right term to use. I mean, when I say not so gummy, I don't mean that in a bad way. Like some of the box mixes, you get that real kind of fudgy gummy. I guess fudgy's a better way. Anyway, I like a little bit more of a cake brownie, and that is what this recipe is here. So I was just getting the flour, baking powder, and the salt stirred in. I'm going to get this into a 9x13 greased 9x13 pan and get this into the oven. But I did want to just mention, so things are going pretty well as far as having some leftovers for lunch. Today we had the leftover Italian beefs. Well, they're Italian venis, I guess we could call them, venisons. And we have just enough to have like one more skimpy sandwich tomorrow for lunch. So I'll probably maybe make, oh yeah, Peter said he wanted to make some ramen for lunch tomorrow. So someone will have the sandwich, we'll have some ramen, throw in some sausage or something else that we have. Anyway, today we are finally going to be doing the shrimp tacos for supper tonight. I do have to get the shrimp out. It is a little after 4 right now, so I need to get that shrimp out and put it in my colander and then spray it with cold water. And I like to just let it sit there and spray it I don't know, every 5-10 minutes, whatever I can remember to do, for about an hour or so, just to get that shrimp to thaw. And then I like to pat it dry as well before I, what is that called in the pan? Before I saute it.
Um, 4 or 5 minutes.
So remember the other day I made the dressing up ahead of time for the coleslaw? I just gave it a really good hard shake. The honey that was in here all incorporated really nicely. Honestly, I wasn't sure because I thought, oh, if the honey gets cold, but it's been in there, you know, a number of days, and it worked. That's all I can say is it worked. What didn't work is my coleslaw mix. My coleslaw, I had a bag of the coleslaw already shredded that I purchased at the store, and the top looked really good, but then when I opened up the bag, the whole bottom of the bag was slimy. So we're just gonna go with this. I had picked up, this was one of the $1 off bags. I think Warren and I were at Aldi the other day. He was picking up some food for his ice fishing trip. And of course I was looking for stickers and I found a couple of the salad mixes that I ate over the weekend. And then this one I didn't get eaten up. And I thought this will work just fine. So I'm just gonna put some coleslaw dressing on some of this and mix it around. I'm not gonna use all of this dressing just because I know that would be too much. And then I'm just going to kind of fluff it. I don't know if that's the right term. I'm going to put just a little bit more on because I want it to be like it would be if it was coleslaw. I think Warren is probably going to like this better anyway because he doesn't like cabbage, but for some reason with the shrimp tacos, he actually puts the coleslaw mix on the shrimp tacos, and he says it just for whatever reason goes, but otherwise he would never ever eat cabbage. I thought I was going to put a little more on. I'm going to say nope, just going to leave it like that. And then this other bowl of salad here I'm just going to leave like this, and the kids can just put some ranch dressing on it if they want to do that. I've made these shrimp tacos enough times that I rarely follow the instructions, you know, in the cookbook anymore. I just do what I do. So I have some butter in there, and I'm just quick sauteing for 30 seconds to a minute the garlic. And now I'm just going to put all of the shrimp in there and, yeah, just cook it until it's pink. Correcto. This is one of those meals that I'm kind of jumping back and forth, and it's really a tricky one to film. So what I do for the tortillas is I just do it right on my gas stove here. I turn on the flame, and then I just kind of keep, well, what I do is I let the flame cook it until it just starts to smoke a little on the edge, and then I flip it and I do the same thing. So yeah, this is kind of how they turn out here. We just have the coleslaw dressing is on the salad, and then we have the shrimp, and then you do the dressing, and that's it. Very, very simple, but all the flavors somehow just all come together just right, and they're so good.